There we go. Finally, I had a really hard time going live. I had to refresh it, and then I had to refresh it again and stuff. I had to change the name, whatever. I don't know. That's probably just my own paranoid thinking. But sometimes I think it doesn't let me go live if it doesn't like the name. Look, we got two people on here for the first time ever. Immediately starts with two. It's usually I can live stream for 20 hours in a row without a single person on here. If you are on here, please say something in the chat. Which a lot of times I don't even, when I do live streams, I don't even want to have the chat on. But I specifically, oh, two people left. That's all it takes. Just got to acknowledge their presence and they're like, fuck this. I'm out. Anyways, but I was like ready to allow the chatting today. Even though normally I'm like, part of what I do with the live stream is sort of just talk through things, figure things out for myself. And so if there were to be somebody on here and they say something in chat, it would be an interruption. But I just had this thought um, that generally speaking, it's probably not a good idea that I get into this mode where I assume I'm not going to be interrupted. I should do the opposite. I should like put myself in situations where I'm going to get interrupted, interact with people. Um, Sort of like this little Instagram. For some reason, these little Instagram like health and psychology tidbits have just been getting me lately. And one I keep thinking about is they said like these guys. I don't even believe it necessarily, but the construction workers that had like they have basically alcoholics guys. They were drinking, and so they ended up getting promoted because they learned how to work through a hangover, and that means that they can work through adverse circumstances. There's a lot of other reasons why that could be the case. Again, a lot of times people they tend to drink because they're already good at their job, they already feel comfortable at their job, or because they're networking. So you'd have to factor that out to determine that the real reason they're getting promoted was because they're good at working through hangovers, which is blah blah blah. Anyways, so so I've just been kind of like doing nothing today, and I thought that I was golden because I slept so much yesterday. I didn't have any caffeine, and then today I had caffeine, so I thought I was going to be like going. But maybe I just didn't go for long. I don't know. I'm not going. Not really going. And I already had a coffee, and now I'm having this. It did work for a quick minute. For a very short minute, I was going, and then I talked to the boss of the Danbing breakfast shop. I just want to eat. Like all I want to do ever since I got here is just eat. And I think part of the reason is because you can smell the food in the air. Some places it smells sweet, some places it smells savory. Like there's no indoor outdoor separation here, and like a lot of times where they're cooking the food is like on the street, so you can always smell. There's always really good smelling food, and it just makes you want to eat constantly. Whereas like in the U.S., at least where I was living, I mean, the only food you ever smelled is like Burger King. You smelled Burger King from 3 blocks away, but you still have to go within 3 blocks of it. And then when you're right behind Lian Chin, you smell Lian Chin. Uh, but like here, you just smell all sorts of amazing smells, and it just makes you want to do nothing but eat. So that's an issue. Um, and I had this whole plan, where my plan was to I was looking to see if I can see who was on here earlier. If I, uh, anyways, I seriously just want to eat so much that I like don't care about anything else. Like I'm just gonna go spend all of my money on food and just eat it, and then like play Clash Royale and watch TV until I'm homeless in Taiwan. That is my plan. Anyways, so where was I? Right. Okay. So the thing is, I found a wonderful use for these fapias. They always give me the fapias like I care. Hopefully one day I will care. I wonder. It must be not just be for business though. It must be for all sorts of things that the fapias matter. Because I don't know. It must be that like if you earn less than a certain amount, you can get your value added tax refund or something. That reminds me, it's tax. I could do taxes in the U.S. now for last year, which means I could theoretically get a refund on my property tax. But is it worth trying, considering that last year they seized it for student loans? I don't know. I definitely should have walked more. My foot hurts a lot because my shoes are not good shoes. But I need to buy shoes and I need to do laundry. I'm running out of money. I don't know what I'm going to do. Anyways, all of that said, I did have this plan. So my plan was to start with a knowledge graph every day. But for whatever reason, I'm just going into pure news, just news mode. I'm just in news mode. I'm constantly checking the news, even though I've already checked it. And I just feel like I have to clear out the news like before I do anything else, I guess. I do feel like that. And part of me is saying that I got to resist it, that I got to fight it, that this is what happens to me every single time. Every time I get to the point where like I'm free and clear, whatever that means. Like there's no pressing thing to do. So I'm like, in theory, I could like focus on the most important thing, which in this case is this whole daily plan that I had. Oh, feed spot. What is the other one? I really shouldn't share those. But okay, anyways, you know what my plan is? Here's my plan that I'm gonna go through. It is kind of crazy though. Sometimes when I'm live streaming, it literally like, because it like simulates like social interaction. So sometimes you have to like it's like I have to explain myself to somebody, even if that person is a hypothetical person or just me in the future. But I mean, even though it's me in the future, like I forget so much that you really do have to explain it as though you're explaining it to a completely different person. And a lot of things that happen when you just don't interact with people at all for days on end. Like right now, I feel like I should clean this shit, which is, at least back in Minneapolis, I would just let things get disgusting and more disgusting. and then clean if I had somebody coming over. So you could basically know how often I was having people over based on how clean it was. If there was people coming over regularly, and it wasn't something like I did like as a just it's just automatic. Like when you know people are coming over or people have been over recently or whatever, like you just start cleaning out of shame. So this is what I'm doing right now. I'm doing this out of shame. Uh, I don't know. I just don't want to work on the Taiwan SEO directory. I don't really know why. I just don't want to work on it. But anyways, this is theoretically my daily plan. First, work on the graphs. Choose a Taiwan agency, make a graph for them, make a video of looking them up in the directory. And also just sort of generally work these things. I'm going to add something here actually, which is the original idea that I kind of moved away from a little bit is to like grade them based on desire. Yeah, desire. No, based on ability to do international SEO. Okay. So this is the thing that I'm getting stuck on, which is, I mean, I always get stuck on this. It happens every time that I try to do anything in my life. I end up just in like an endless like content loop where mainly I'm just consuming content and not producing any content. Although, I mean, I guess you could say this live stream is content, but it's not really content that helps me in any way. Other than that, I have a documentation of my own behavior. Okay. But I do want to make a daily demo. I don't know. So the thing is, the idea is to start with the graph, the knowledge graph every day. Even if I don't get this like done, that's okay. But because it's been like 3 days and I've done 2 of these, but I've done 0 of these, assuming yesterday's counts, does that count? I don't know. I mean, I could look at a knowledge graph right now. I could just make, but I would be phoning it in. I would definitely be phoning it in. Whatever, let's phone it in. Here's the 957 company. That's not good. Speaking of phoning it in, I think this company, the 957 company, I think I already have a demo for them. You know, I feel like the snow background is actually like super perfect for Taiwan because for somebody in Minnesota seeing that snow background, they're gonna be like, ugh, why would I want to think about that? But somebody in Taiwan, snow is like this exotic, magical thing. Uh, okay, so this is what their demo looks like. right. So for the LinkedIn, I should be using the knowledge bot. Although honestly, I could just look right here and see whether or not it's in here, which would be in like the same as section probably. If it's not, then they do not have a LinkedIn possibly. Damn, that was bad. I don't know what happened there. Oh, I'm not sharing the tab, so it didn't get picked up on the live stream. But what happened was that it was like a pretty good answer came out, although it was not. And then it just reverted to this, which I thought I had fixed that problem. I don't know why that would be happening, to be honest. Hmm. Trying to remember why that happens. I know I fixed this problem before. Maybe I guess I thought I fixed it for all of them, but maybe it was only for. Yeah, so what's happening is it's giving answers. The knowledge bot specifically is giving answers. You can see them streaming in, but then they get deleted from the chat history. Um, it's possible there's a problem with saving. I don't know. I can't remember how I fixed this problem. I fixed it so many times, to be honest. God damn it. I don't know what's going on there. That sucks. I need to figure that one out. That really sucks because if it weren't for that, I could just be like, hey, check this out. Because I mean, why not? Why not tell them to check it out? Anyways, let's look for them on LinkedIn. Let's open a ChatGPT and ask. Is happening here? Why does it smell like minty here? I don't know. No results found for the 957 company. Well, Let's try like this. The 周五起全方位网络行销。Okay, it looks like they have another name or something. Taiwanfirst.com.tw. Also say you only have 3. Interesting. So this is the other. I don't know why they have different websites. This one has a Weibo and a WeChat and a QQ. Interesting. Seems pretty mainlandy. Oh, okay. So they have Taiwan SEO and Dalu SEO. Here they have a Twindoi page. It's more about applying than. I don't know. I feel like this might be a mainland company pretending to be a Taiwan company somehow. No, what the hell? I don't know. This might be a fake company for some reason or another. I'm confused. I seem to have gotten a message from a recruiter, but it seems kind of fake. Okay. Well, I don't know what to say about that. I tried something. I kind of tried something. Did I try something? Not really. That didn't go very well at all. Maybe we just pick a different one. Let's pick this one. I'm pretty sure I have a demo for them for sure. Oh, I think this is one of the companies that the link to the demo is actually in Chinese characters, which is not a great idea. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, actually it's listed right here. I just clicked on it from the directory site, but it's working so amazingly well. It's a lot better to try to copy the full name and put that in the URL. Dude, that is not, how did that happen? Okay, so there we go. Now let's see whether or not it is experiencing the same problem with the disappearing answers. Yes, it is. That's not good. Why is that happening? Oh, there's so many different companies that are actually this NTMG company is the thing. It goes by many names. But anyways, even though the knowledge bot isn't even friggin' working, let's just take a look at what sorts of things we have in here. We have an organization object with a contact point, 2 different contact points. We have a web page object, which is it seems like that's the home page. And then we got a web page for web design. We have a web page for web page. We have a web page, for SEO service. We have a web page for contact us. We have a web page for about us, which, these are different from the pages that were just listed in the demo when I click list pages, because those are coming from the WordPress. This is a knowledge graph. Okay, at some point it gave another organization. We have another organization ID, but this time the URL is example.com, so that's not good. We should get rid of that. We have a service for SEO, we have a service for web design, we have a service for, nope, Tang Xiaojie is the person. All these are using example.com after a certain point. SEO optimization. Tang Xiaojie is the only one that showed up at all on here. Let's look at the same as. I'm not seeing any same as section, which does suck because it needs to. Let's go back over. This is the link. That is what happens when you click on about us in the one thing. Do they have Facebook, Twitter? What is this? LinkedIn. Why is it not popping up? Nope. No LinkedIn. Yes, there's Line. Here's Tang Xiaojie. Let's try to find NTMG Taiwan. I am following Tainan. 11 to 50 employees. This is going very, very slow. Is my what is taking you so long? Okay, well, I'll just see if I can let that load back to it, maybe. Meanwhile, once again, I'm going to read through the newsies. But the real news is the real news is the stuff I really care about is the SEO stuff. And honestly, I'm probably going to go to my other channel to mess with that. And I've already checked this like 10 times today. So there shouldn't really be anything new in here. ICE takes Operation Metro Surge into Greater Minnesota. That's interesting. It's a query fan out. Flurry reports coming in from Rochester, Mankato, and other cities. Meeting the quota. What's the quota? Yes. The Minnesota government officials have done every single thing to bring this upon themselves. More than 2,000 arrested in Twin Cities ICE operation. Really? Scott Jensen is running again. Talked into a minibus funding several departments and agencies. The requested community project funding would give $1 million to the Somali-led organization Generations Hope Justice Empowerment Initiative. The earmark has also been backed by Tina Smith and Amy Klobuchar. Minneapolis, who is Generation Hope, the Minneapolis-based Somali-operated nonprofit, was incorporated in 2021. The nonprofit received the IRS tax exempt status. IRS record shows that only one Form 990 tax return has ever been filed for the organization, and that return covered calendar year 2023. In 2023, the nonprofit reported 167 state of Minnesota charities various returns, no results on its website. The nonprofit lists several funding sources, including City of Minneapolis, University of Minnesota. So she tried to funnel $1 million to a nonprofit. And we don't know what that nonprofit does or what the $1 million is for, according to this article. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't look hard. Minnesota Health Department rejects CDC's new childhood vaccine. Of course they do, because they're completely under the control of pharmaceutical companies. But I mean, if the CDC vaccine schedule still includes chickenpox, then that's fucking stupid. I mean, it's all stupid. All of these are stupid. All of these vaccines are stupid. But I mean, chickenpox is the most obviously stupid one. Here's what's really happening. I am interested in this because it's from like a left wing source. So it's like, okay, the YouTube video was misleading. Nick Shirley is misleading. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. If there is no evidence of large scale child care fraud nationwide, then these, or in Minnesota wide, then these investigations these ICE agents are conducting will accomplish nothing. So they should have nothing to hide. They should be happy to see the sunlight. They should be happy to have an opportunity to clear their name. Rochester's Latino businesses hurt by it. Yeah, no shit. Okay. Anyways, I actually hadn't read the Minnesota News apparently, so that was like sort of new stuff ish. How is India integrating drones? U.S. shipbuilding workforce plan. All right. I should very much not. I should just read that on the spot instead of going through all this trouble. But no, I'm gonna add it to the list, and I'll take a look at the list in a minute. This is how I waste my life away. This is how I waste um, daylight and business hours. This is how I'm spending it. But I'm going to go to the bathroom. All right, let's just close this JSON viewer. I did do something with that, right? Kinda. But yeah, it's just bugging me that I can't seem to get through. Great inflation says upon talking heads are missing labor market strength. Here it is. China EU EV conflict nears resolution as new pricing framework emerges. Unrest in Iran pushes oil prices higher. AI productivity improvements, disrupting custom tracking. Appeal consumer reports Trump's Venezuela overthrow. Okay. That's all because I've already done this 3 times today. Let's see what we got here. Apparently, we have a lot of articles from Blinded America, whatever the fuck that is. Looks like there's pretty much nothing new in here. Well, there's a lot of Minneapolis news again. That's it for local SEO blogs. Why does it say there's 10 Minneapolis blogs? ChatGPT for teachers. See, they got ChatGPT for health, ChatGPT for teachers. You see where this is going. A different ChatGPT for every use case. I will say I had the thought the other day. One problem with AI, a big problem with AI, one that I can kind of help solve is that um, it's just like it does what you tell it to do. Sounds good, but like, for example, if I wanted an AI that was a sales manager that would tell my sales guy how to do his job, the problem is if my sales guy's interacting with it, it just takes instructions from the sales guy. But if I can have it be sort of fixed in that it's not taking instructions, it is giving instructions, uh, then that is potentially more useful to my business. And that's probably true for many a business. So that's just kind of something we need to do.过敏的2028退战力文总统 Somebody said that is who China wants. Lu Weiyan is another person that is being talked about. Wait, 他是中国要的人，严若芳、Zhen Liwen, Deng Zhen. Gosh dang it. Okay, I'm gonna have to actually click on the link. Really? Oh, she's the party chair of the Kuomintang? She's China's favorite. Supposedly. Kind of hot. Because she's hot. Because all of the ACP party official dudes look at her and they want to fuck her. So they like, yeah, let's back her. That's how global politics works. Damn, is that really a picture of her? Anyways, okay. So yeah, she's the party chair. So China wants the party chair of the KMT to be the Pret one. That all checks out. I will be keeping an eye on that. Now let us move on from here. Huang Guochang went to, who I think is the party chair of the DPP, went to the US. Seems like he was rejected or something. He wasn't allowed in, possibly. He was there for such a short amount of time. It doesn't make any sense. Um, Black Hat SEO blogs, huh? Yeah, we're done there. B2B marketing blogs, there's just not enough to be worth looking at in one go. All right, we got one feed reader left. And then there goes the F-16s. Hopefully, I can mention the fact that there's F-16s flying around without that causing any F-16s to go missing. Because that's what happened last time. As soon as I mentioned F-16s, they went missing. And part of me thinks it's just a coincidence. Just a coincidence. And part of me thinks that these is like the fucking PLAN watches my shit, and they're the only ones that watch my shit, but somehow they know how to not be registered as watching or something. And then I know this is crazy, but I mean, why is I just whatever? Okay, I'm a crazy person. That's all. Has nothing to do with me. There's zero chance whatsoever that I personally caused the F-16 to go missing by alerting the PLAN to the fact that it was out there by saying something about it on live stream. It was pretty nice out this morning. Kind of made me want to go to the night market tonight just because I feel like if it's nice outside, there'll be more people there or something. I don't know. I kind of go back and forth with like this thing where it's like, oh, you should like be social, you should be meeting people, you should be talking to people, you should be networking. Isolation is the dream killer, blah blah blah. And then like, no, just like leave me alone. Don't let me, I don't want to talk to anybody. Just let me spin around in my little schizophrenic mess, my little schizophrenic cocoon, and I will emerge as a butterfly. I promise. I just need to keep on fucking spinning. I will be a butterfly. Immigration and IQ matter. Here we go. He's going to say that Somalis have low IQs. What is the German econo suicide? All right, that's enough. These are all conspiracy theorists. Those guys are all conspiracy theorists, which is good. Okay, anyway, so let's get over here. And we'll take a look at all of the non SEO articles that I can stand. I'm already kind of. What is happening here? I'm already super semi like need to take a break, even though I've been doing this for only 1 hour. But the issue is, first of all, okay, the issue is that this chair is just extremely uncomfortable. And it's like I could actually sit in the bed and it would be more comfortable, but like by the time it's been an hour, it's too late to sit in the bed. It's all right, that's a Google search. I think I need to reorder these so that they're what the hell? Can you not do what you're doing? All right, whatever. Wait. Okay, I'm just in the wrong section entirely. I want all saved items. China and Taiwan update. PRC state media circulated satellite images of Taipei that marked the locations of Taiwanese legislators Puma Shan's home and office. The PRC uses threats of violence and presumed to intimidate. Interesting. Added Shun to the list of Taiwan independence diehards. The kind of my first instinct is I should find this person and go associate with them. That's my first response. But then, lately I've been thinking, and I hate to say this, I hesitate to say this because in the end, there's just no upside to saying this. Not that most likely nobody cares about anything that I say ever, but there's just no upside to saying this. But other than just to express myself, but and it doesn't matter. My opinion on this does not fucking matter at all to anybody. Well, it does matter in terms of like whether or not I go associate with somebody like that. Go be like, hey, I'm here to volunteer for you. However I can help. If I was truly myself a strong advocate of Taiwanese independence, then I would do that. But I'm well, what I've been thinking lately, and I'll definitely look back on this in like a week and be like, that's that was like a momentary thought and stupid, not really something that. But I can't. I mean, okay, like let's take the people of Hong Kong. If you say Taiwan is independent and Taiwan should be separate from China and Taiwan is blah blah, so you're just abandoning the people of Hong Kong. But if you say that the ROC is like the true government of China, then um, you're maintaining the possibility that Taiwan will take over and run the entire mainland, not because they engage in a war of conquest, but because the CCP falls. Or that they try to take over Taiwan and they fail, and that causes their collapse or something. I don't know. Never mind. I take back everything I just said. Um, it's just like very romantic, fucking idiocy, this idiotic thinking. Let's be pragmatic. Let's when that becomes a realistic scenario, let's reevaluate it at that time. But in the meanwhile, I guess I would just say like anybody that's an enemy of the CCP is a friend of mine because I respect them for putting their neck out, putting themselves in harm's way, in doing so, creating a lane for your average person. But again, I don't want independence for Taiwan. I want democracy for China. That's what I want. I want democracy for Hong Kong and Macau. I want to live in Zhuhai. I want to live in a free and democratic Zhuhai. That's what I want. That's where I want to die. And if I can't have that, I'll die right here. I really just want to die. That's my main thing. I just fucking hate life. That's really what it comes down to. I should be sharing this tab instead of whatever I was just sharing. Anyways, this isn't really the one I wanted to look at. The one I wanted to look at, which I thought should have been in here. Well, it's better if I say stay here. I think I can find it. I swear I saved it, so I don't know where it went. This one, because this one is written by. It is not written by those people that I thought it was written by. What happened here? TRC announced the successful completion adjustment for there's no, and the thing that the F-16, the interaction between the Taiwanese F-16 pilot and the Taiwanese and the Chinese the Chinese pilot and the Taiwanese pilot was embarrassing for China, and then the Venezuelan thing was embarrassing for China, and I swear to God they needed to engage in electronic warfare to steal an F-16 so that they could save face, so they could feel good about themselves again. I seriously think that's what happened. All right. Anyways, I wanted to read the one. Where did it go? It should be in here. I'd say refreshing can't possibly. The one I wanted to read was like, fine. You know what? I'm just going to Google search for it. Dan. I think I spelled his name wrong. China has three roads. This is definitely not what I was looking for, but let's take a look at what are the three roads. I'm just going to guess that the three roads are political takeover, successful invasion, and capitulation after a blockade. Etoshi. I am not finding. And they defined the three at the beginning, but they didn't define them with a lot of specificity. So I'm looking for what exactly they mean. Yeah. Okay. There's the blockading. I spent the whole. I spent like this morning. I listened to like 4 hours of like this is how China would attack Taiwan like videos, and then when I like went outside, it was like, I mean, is the one of those weird sort of like feelings when I don't know when like you kind of expect to go outside into a war zone, and there were F-16s flying around overhead. That is true, but I mean, this one video. I mean, obviously, it doesn't make any difference for me to say this here. I should at the very least go leave a comment on the video. But like, he kept saying like that in the opening hours of the war, China would attack the U.S. bases in Okinawa, and going on about how the Chinese military, how the missiles, because uh, we don't have enough hardened, what do you call them? Hangars for fighter jets and stuff. Well, and so it would mess things up. Um, a couple of things here. So, okay, assuming that happens, you don't think the U.S. is going to fire missiles back? Like you're asking for U.S. missiles to be fired on you when you could potentially avoid that outcome by doing that to begin with. Um, that's the first thing. The second thing is, um, you think Japan's just going to sit there and do nothing? And honestly, like if you wanted to get Japan, Australia, South Korea, India, the Philippines, all involved, then attacking the American military bases in Japan is a good way to do it. So it doesn't seem to make any sense at all that they would just launch an all-out go. I feel like it makes way more sense that they would. It's just the way the Chinese operate is that they're gonna do a blockade and like have this thing where they can like ramp up or ramp down the blockade pressure as a lever that they try to use to exert influence over the US and Taiwan and to like create instability. Um, that makes a million times more. But I mean, I guess if you just want to try to go on one all out massive attack, it's not a good idea and it wouldn't work. But anyways, but the point is I'm trying to make is that video never mentioned like, okay, but then the US is going to be bombing China back. Like you can't just do that and expect, and so is Japan. It never once mentioned Japan's activities and all this. And the third thing if you use up all your missiles attacking U.S. military bases and Japanese military bases, um, then which by the way, you have to attack the Philippines as well because there's American military bases right in the Philippines. So um, that leaves you with less missiles for Taiwan, right? Um, yeah, which really, comes down to China's ability to produce these missiles. But I don't know. Do you think ChatGPT knows? What is China's current level of stockpiled missiles that would be capable of being used to attack American bases in the Philippines or Japan? All right. So, anyways, it's saying that the stockpile is. Let's just. Here's what I want to know. Answer in a conversational fashion and tell me what. How does this compare to the Russian stockpile at the beginning of the war with Ukraine? Okay, when I say answer in a conversational fashion, that doesn't mean give me a table. Far more relevant missiles. Total usable conventional missiles up to 2,000. Total relevant 2,000. Okay, that's if it's larger than Russia's stockpile, that's one thing. But if it's like um, if it was like 10 times larger or 100 times larger, we're talking a totally different scenario. But in with this much, I mean, um, it's just like 50% larger. It's not. I don't. I don't know that the missiles can call the difference there. Seems like pretty clear that you can just missile the shit out of people, and it doesn't matter. You have to still actually take them over, and especially Taiwan, because man, like they could. I don't know what the fucking point of taking Taipei is. Why not just they could just have a presidential palace and a parliament or a legislature in the mountain in a hardened mountain base and just continue to be and like go ahead and take like their symbolic buildings if you want, but like we'll keep on running the government from inside of the mountain. Like there's no I don't know because it's like ultimately what really determines who is in control. Like the only reason they want to take Taipei is just the symbolic nature. logistically necessary, right? I guess. I don't know. I mean, ultimately, it's probably whoever's in control of TSMC is really the question. And hey, a lot of TSMC might be in Arizona by then. What is China's missile production capacity? %50 in 4 years. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not seeing. My question is like, can they fire off all of their missiles and then manage to replenish them in a time period that's significant, that's relevant? Because otherwise, rate. You have to launch these missiles at a rate, at a rate that's sustainable rate. So that means no matter how many missiles you have, it doesn't mean you can launch them all. Okay. In the event that the Chinese use missiles to attack bases in the region, American bases in the region, how many missiles would the U.S. and Japan have? The U.S., Japan, and Taiwan have to respond with? Definitely should have put this live stream in the politics section, in the politics category. Despite all of Google's amazing AI, at the end of the day, it really matters what category you give your own things, which it shouldn't. Compare credible opens, Tomahawk 4,000, 6,000 air launch standoff, 8,000 baseline. Do the math for me, ChatGPT. Don't make me do my own math. So what is the comparison? The number of missiles available to China versus the number of missiles available to the US, Japan, and Taiwan within the first 10 days of the conflict. I don't know, something, like the one thing that they said that scared the shit out of me was like, they're talking about landing that they think they could get 15,000 PLA troops onto the island within a week or so. And it's like, wait, but then they're like stuck here. Like they're not, like they're stuck. Their supply lines have to go through the ocean. Um, so if you can stop resupply through the ocean, then they're hopeless. They're just slowly but surely gonna all get killed or captured or whatever. But still, though, if I turn on the TV in a minute and it's like there's 15,000 PLA troops in northern Taiwan, I'd be, fuck, that would be scary. But the other question is, if there's 15,000 PLA troops, how many drones do they have? If it's 15,000 and they all have 100 drones, it's inherently classified. I like how it's like it's an. Oh, all right, whatever. So basically, China has a lot more missiles than we do at the beginning of a conflict. Which, but again, I've said before, I'll say it again. I think ultimately, what it's going to come down to is the ability of Japan, the Philippines, India, and South Korea and the US to produce drones. And if they can produce more drones than China can produce, then they will win. And they can. I know China is the factory of the universe. I have been there. I have looked at it. It is scary. It's very scary to walk around China and think, "Oh, what if this was landing on your fucking head?" But I feel like those countries, if they had like a goal, they had the reason, they had the incentive, they could outproduce China in terms of drones. And it doesn't really matter who can produce more bigger ships or submarines, or because everything is going to get blown up by the drones. That's the current state of the play, and that's going to be the state until we see some anti-drone weaponry that is effective enough that drones stop being the dominant factor in Ukraine. Then we have to assume that ultimately it comes down to who can produce more drones. And again, India, Philippines, South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, US together can outproduce China by a lot. But it'll take some time. And so we'd have to hold on to at least one port in Taiwan, at the very least one port in Taiwan, and then the sea lanes to resupply to that port. Or the air lanes. What have I got this open for? I don't need this open. I don't need this open. Now, did I find what I was looking for here? I was looking for the most recent, because Dan Blumenthal and Frederick Kagan they made an article that was specifically about China and Taiwan update. There we go. That's it right there, January 9th. PRC has like already considered implying similar operations. That was my thought. My thought was like, has Taiwan thought about how they would like? How do you? Let's ask ChatGPT. Let's ask ChatGPT something here. How do you defend against a sonic weapon? It just seems like, yeah, like I think everybody is just like, did we just give them the blueprint? Literally earplugs. Literally earplugs. All right. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, it gives some of the things you can do to mitigate, but at the end, there's no like, this is an actually good defense against sonic. There's no like, here's the anti-sonic weapon playbook. Right. So this is Taiwan's Constitutional Court overruled legislation on December 19, 2025 that has prevented it from issuing rulings since 2024. The ruling was towards one of Lai's administration's few means of blocking opposition based passed legislation. The legislation Kuomintang TVP amended the Constitutional Court Procedure Act in December 2024 to require at least 10 judges to sit on the court to rule on issues of constitutionality. Out of 15 total seats, the law functionally paralyzed the court because it had only 8 sitting justices at the time, and the remaining seats have stayed vacant as opposition legislators have blocked. That's quite the move there, to say you can't issue any rulings unless you have 10, but we're not going to let you have 10. And they're pressuring. So it's kind of funny how this update, which you thought was going to be about military stuff, and it all is about Taiwan domestic politics. Was I already looking at this? And I think I looked at this earlier, and then I was like, where did it go? The plan outpaces the Navy and commissioning new service combatants. Yes, of course. The PRC administration and exports abilities. Guardian reported on January 2nd the PRC threatened to cancel the UK-China Joint Economic and Trade Commission meeting due to then Trade Minister Douglas Alexander's visit to Taiwan. Holy shit, I want some food. I want some kimchi. I want some. Taiwan is everything is there's kimchi everything now. I was talking with that's one of the things I said to the owner. And I was like, they didn't have kimchi danbang in 2008, did they? She was like, no. Welcome to the future. Kimchi everything. If they make it in Taiwan, they now make it in kimchi flavor. I haven't seen kimchi Lay's potato chips though. That sounds fire. Okay, this was the thing. Whatever. Fan Chai Guang Shi. Really? Okay, buddy. Honestly, I'm getting emotional reading this because I get emotional all the time. I think because I got brainwashed by a therapy cult, and they taught me to respond to all stimulus as therapy. Now, the thing was, what I was trying to say, the reason I got emotional because this guy was like saying like he went to Taiwan University and he feels like his whole entire life was preparing him for this particular mission, and I've had that same exact feeling quite recently. Um, although I did not study electric engineering. But I was just going to look and see whether or not we were there roughly around the same time. We were not because he is significantly older than me. So most likely no. Anyways. So basically, the point that he's making here is that there's the reason the radars in China didn't work is because there's no incentive for, or in Venezuela, the Chinese radars didn't work, and there's just no incentive for Chinese radar for anybody in China to identify that there's a problem or to report that there is a problem with the radars. Because if you say that there's a problem, then you're causing problems. You're a problem maker, and you're gonna pay the price for that. Whereas if you just say nope, it all works perfectly fine, then everything the system moves on. And so, whereas in the U.S. or Taiwan, we have a different set of incentives. I guess I'm not sure how I would describe a set of incentives or on what basis I have for concluding that, but I mean, I'm sure that incentive also exists in Taiwan or in the U.S., but it does on a different, to a different degree, on a different level. Especially, I mean, yeah, when you've got, I don't know, if the Raytheon radar doesn't work, then the Lockheed Martin radar might work, and they theoretically are in competition and would want to steal each other's market share. So, and also, I think a lot of what it really comes down to is just the mandate. If China mandates we're going to do something in 5 years, and it's like that's not how it works, and we're going to do our best, and it might work. That's but so the incentive is to fake it. Um, but regardless of whether PC Home, oh, I truly do need that stuff on PC Home. What was I talking about? The mandating. Kind of reminds me of what I was saying yesterday about the Kuomintang and how I think that their intentions are not good regarding the anti-infiltration law. I think that their whole goal is like almost to create a crisis where they can overthrow the democratically elected government of Taiwan. However, they're inadvertently, I think, doing a great service to democracy because by pointing out the potential for abuse of the anti-infiltration law in such a way, like, then that's what is beautiful about democracy, is right there. That these people, even with negative intentions, their incentives are structured in such a way that they produce a net benefit to society. Yeah, I don't know. There was some other thing I was going to say a second ago about before I was saying about the incentives. What are our incentives? Yeah, I don't know. I think I already said it. But some piece of it feels unfinished, but whatever. Let's just get rid of that article and move on with our lives. And this is again, this is what I've done every time I ever feel like I'm making progress on my business, and then I get like wrapped up in a shit like this, doing shit like this all day, which is unnecessary. But I honest to God feel like I'm close, very close to um I don't know. Like on one part it's just like, dude, you're doing making the same mistakes that you always make all over again. And it's like, yeah, but here's the thing. It's that the fact that I made this mistake so many other times means that this time I can't get caught up in it for months. I can only do it for the 2 or 3 hours before I'm all caught up in global politics news. And then it's nothing but SEO news, which is its own thing because you don't have to really, I don't have to be all up to date on SEO news. That's not 100%. Read the news, the SEO news, one way or another. So, whatever. Yeah, so they Russia fired a hypersonic missile at Lviv, which destroyed a Ukrainian aviation plant. Mm, I don't know. People are trying to say like, what is the message that Moscow is trying to send? Maybe they weren't trying to send a message. Maybe it was just tactical. I mean, if that's where you're building the things that you send to the front line, then wouldn't you want to take it out where it is instead of waiting for it to be at the front line? It was producing long range drones. The long range drones have been attacking Russian oil and energy production, which means those attacks are working. That's what we're seeing here. But they should really just move the facility into Poland and smuggle the drones into Ukraine without Russia noticing. Isn't that what they? Okay, how many times I gotta click the remove one before you actually remove it? Okay, so now from a Chinese article about the failure of Chinese radars in Venezuela, now we look at a English language article. We detected unusual activity in your device. Interesting. I wonder what that's all about. Maybe it's the live streaming. How's that? Whoops, this is not the article. So, yeah. Behind the utter failure of Russian anti-aircraft missile, anti-air systems in Venezuela, flying with the pilot wounded, and the damaged aircraft made it back from the mission safely. Why did I not know about that? So it's not sure whether the entire Venezuelan armed forces was ordered to stand down or else that their defense system simply didn't work or were inactive. New York Times claims that they didn't work. They're mostly inoperable and did not react. The missile systems were not even linked to the radar. They may have been unusable for several years. They have faced ongoing difficulties maintaining its Russian-made air defenses because of limited access to Russian technicians and spare parts, all of which have been diverted to support Russia's special military operation in Ukraine. That makes a lot of sense. Spare parts all being utilized for the war with Ukraine. All right. So we got, here's an article about how F-35s are going to have a whole posse of drones with them, I think is the idea here. And let's see if I can open some of these ahead of time. Tab for every article that is not about just do SEO times SEO times SEO, which I'm going to do on my other channel. Maybe I'll make this channel just be about politics and most of the time speak in Chinese, and then I'll have the other channel be about SEO and my business. That might be what I do. Touchscreen tablet seems like a terrible way to control the drones while you're also flying an airplane. By the way, the F-16s flying around above me earlier today were flying in well, there's only two of them, but I mean, they're flying in, what's the word? They were so close to each other. They're flying so fast and so close to each other. I mean, just a little tiny error would cause them to potentially crash, but they seem to know what they're doing up there. Okay. So yeah, there was an oil slick in the ocean, and they thought that had meant that they had found the F-16. The reason this F-16 went missing and is not findable, and all this is there's no chance that this was a mistake, that this was an error. It is 100% that the Chinese were testing their warfare weapons, and possibly they needed to capture this thing. They needed to capture the F-16 so that they could analyze sensors on it, and possibly the action in Venezuela made them feel like it was urgent. It was of urgent importance that they understand the radar systems being employed by the F-16s in Taiwan. This is my assumption, and I don't think you could possibly convince me otherwise. All right, this link is not opening, so counter drone system that has been deployed in combat, but it's using a missile. I mean, it doesn't matter how cheap the missiles are. If you're firing missiles at drones, there's no way that that's sustainable, right? I don't know. Seems to me like that's not sustainable. $150 million investment in counter drone technologies that will be critical. Department of Homeland Security announced the launch of a new office dedicated to rapidly procuring and deploying drone and counter drone technologies, making a major step forward. Okay. Drones are transforming industries, blah, blah, blah. Program executive also finds 15 million investment in counter drone technologies. 15 million, by the way, for a 1.5 trillion-dollar defense budget is nothing. All right, I think that's all. That's all of my articles, my political articles. I'm gonna go to the bathroom one more time, and then I'm going to do a couple more things with politics stuff before I move on to SEO. This Google saved works terribly. It works terribly. Those are pretty much all SEO articles going pretty far back. So the first thing I wanted to do this is what I always do when I get to the bottom of my news articles. And then instead of being like, okay, I've read all the news that I could possibly want to read, instead I click on all and see see if there's anything else that is interesting that I'm missing here. Okay, science tells you should be gay. I almost forgot. Whenever I'm reading a lot of traditional characters, and then I switch, and then I'm reading, and then suddenly I'm like, oh, suddenly reading got so much easier, and it's because it's simplified characters. It just goes. They look uglier. They do look uglier, but they read a little faster. Not gonna lie. Especially with what is the setting on this? Oh my god. It's always the problem when I mix together the Chinese and the English, because it's the Chinese is too small, but then then the English gets too big if I make the font bigger. The birth order is not a hoax. That is 100% true. Taiwanese defense drones against Chinese attack. Damn it. Why do you always have to have something else for me? Ukrainian partisans disable Russian mobilization. But that's okay, because what I'm worried about is I find something on here that I'm interested in. That isn't something I've already been looking at. Because that implies there might be some fucking rabbit hole that I can get lost in for a while. As long as I, like the tariffs, for example, if I didn't already know everything I would want to know, then I would kimchi. There's a new. Really, Korea is importing kimchi. Should be the one thing they're exporting. Sexsomnia carries legal risks. Oh yeah, 25% tariffs on countries doing business with Iran. He really wants to up the pressure on Iran right now. I'm gonna hit him hard where it hurts. There is a lot more Baidu articles on here than I would have expected. Okay. Let's just switch to the feed spot. Oh, and there's one more I forgot about, which is a feeder. All right, all posts on FeedSpot. What have we got here? 40 prompt engineering questions. Get started with XGBoost. What's happening in Minnesota is not rioting. Now, part of it's rebellion against the government. Uh-oh. Somebody wants the Insurrection Act. Oh wow, I was just saying, was I just saying I thought that in St. Cloud, Minnesota, they would have an easier time operating the ICE, doing the ICE operations? Apparently not. But I think, the more that people protest, the more agents are going to get sent to Minnesota. They're not going to back down. And then, like, if they need military escorts, they'll get their military escorts. This is what Trump wants. So the people that are protesting are not accomplishing anything. They're literally giving Trump exactly what he wants. And this lawsuit of the Trump admin probably not going to go anywhere. I don't know anything about it, but I'm going to go ahead and go on a limb and say not going to go anywhere. But obviously, if you're Frey or, I don't think, I don't know about Ellison, but if you're Frey, obviously you're going to do the symbolic virtue signaling thing. A Minnesota specific snap cut. Are they freezing snap specifically to Minneapolis? That is hilarious. I love it. I fucking love it. It wasn't that long ago. I was in Minneapolis, very hungry, very, very hungry because a Somali friend of mine hadn't been issued his SNAP benefits. But again, I love the fact that they're doing that because the whole system needs to get burned down to the ground for starters. The whole Minnesota Democrat-run political system needs to get burned down to the ground. And then the other thing is that because I could have gone that route. I could have gone that route where I was just applying for SNAP and living off SNAP and getting benefits, and I didn't go that route. So it just makes me happy that I chose the right choice, even though I wasn't. That wasn't my reason for choosing that choice. Why am I shadow banned? I feel like I'm not shadow banned anymore. I'm still shadow banned on YouTube, I think, but not on X. All right. I don't know if that gave me any useful information other than that, hey, I am not verified, so that might be part of the problem. Okay, let's go on to Feeder and look at all posts. How far into FeedSpot did we go? 3 hours? I also love the fact that like they're doing this to Minnesota because Minnesota never votes Republican anyways. So it's just like, why not? And it like plays good on TV. Like all the like MAGA looks at it and is like, yeah, they're getting rid of the immigrants. But but it doesn't actually upset like a state that might actually stop supporting Trump when they were already supporting Trump if he like rocks the boat too much, I guess. Although obviously people did elect him to rock the boat. That is 100% what he's in there for, but still. China's military drills deserve the entire world's attention. So very many articles about. The problem is I can't really like. I don't know if there's any way to mark them red after going through all of them, or I have to do it like one by one. Is this even automatically marking things red? I don't know. Wait, why was there two Chinese ones before? I didn't see them. Ka. Yeah, it seems like it is marking them all as red. Apparently, I'm already into 22 hours ago. How does that work? All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to just go ahead and mark all of the COVID related articles as red. Mark all these ones as red because they're possible to look at. Mark these ones red because they're also in feed spot. Okay, now let's see. We've got only. The unexpected interaction with CBD and THC. A new study suggests that adding cannabidiol, commonly known as CBD products containing caffeine and THC, can intensify drug psychoactive effects and increase impairment. Well, I've never done those things without already being on a lot of caffeine. Yeah, I mean, like you can look at the live stream I have, which is called THC, but kind of like in Chinese. But where I like went into the all of the logic of it or whatever, but the science of it, and it sort of was saying that like CBD can ameliorate the effects of THC, and THC is more likely to create like psychosis and blah blah, and like all the reasons for it, and that made me like make a point to get the CBD drinks. But those CBD drinks, I'll tell you what, I seem to go way way off the fucking reservation once I got into those. But those ones also had CBG. All right. Psychopathic women are more likely to use physical aggression. This is from 2 days ago. Yeah, I don't think we need any of these. I didn't mark everything red. We're done here. I don't give a fuck. Back to this one. Refresh. This is the fun part when you start refreshing things. I want all posts. I want only. Can I show only the unread ones? Yes, I can. But I got to go back 6 hours to find an unread one, which means it's not exactly news. It's old news already. All right, now let's go to Feedly, if we can. It's crazy how, yeah, my feeds are in this RSS, which means that I should be able to get an RSS feed of YouTube videos, which I thought I couldn't do without using the API, but apparently I can. I don't know if I care though. I don't know, it'd be kind of nice. The main thing that'd be nice is like, especially for my chatbot developer channel, to be able to look at the subscriptions and know which ones have been read and not have to just like do this, like, I'll just look at the last 24 hours thing. But and to start from the oldest ones and move towards the newest ones also. But who fucking cares? My Mingshi. That was one of the names that I have gone by at one point in time in my life. The Lenovo laptop uses AI to rotate its screen so it's always facing the user. Interesting. White Minneapolis families preparing for ICE raids. Yeah, that's just political indoctrination. That's all that is. Come on now. That's it. I don't know. I don't know. People are pretty fucking scared in Minneapolis right now, I would say. Um, glad I'm not there. Super duper fucking glad that I'm not there. Well, I feel like maybe you can get free rent right now in Minneapolis just by telling them you're not a citizen and you're afraid of ICE. And if they try to enforce, if they try to report you for like that, you're gonna get deported. And they don't. Oh, I don't want to. I don't know. The landlords are a mixed bag because a lot of landlords I think have to be kind of fundamentally conservative. Otherwise, they just can't be in the business that they're in. Brain immune cells drive persistent negative emotions after repeated binge drinking. Interesting. Inflammation of the microglia. Because there's so much waste to clean up because you've annihilated so many brain cells. What is this? What was I about to say about ice? Something about. I can't remember. I was about to say something about ice. Uh, can't remember. Never mind. Anyways, 当面包开始奶茶化 where'd this one go? Yeah. Okay. So this lady ate um, a buffet and then she died. What is this? What is this word? Wait, what is this guy's Bitcoin guy? All right. I think that's it. That's it. I have read all of the news that there is to read that isn't SEO related. I am done for now. I think I'm just going to stop on here and start streaming on my other channel immediately. I think that's the plan.